All this stuff that I've learned to do might be totally useless. Some artists have been using OpenAI's video generator. The results are incredible and depressing for anyone with traditional skills. The footage you're about to see was AI generated. In this tense situation, those of us with traditional skills are left with only two choices. Number one, give up on art. Number two, adapt to the times. If you want to adapt to the times, you have to pay attention to AI arts and find its limitations. So let's take a look at what actual artists have been able to make out of OpenAI Sora, the video generation model, and what it means for our future as artists. Part 1. Broken hopes? First of all, there's a quote at the very top of the page. As great as Sora is at generating things that appear real, what excites us is its ability to make things that are totally surreal. I hate to admit it, because I am an artist, but that quote does kind of ring true. You will be able to see that throughout this video. Let's just begin with the first video on the website.
From everyone else.
Isn't it crazy what they can do with the AI? No need to go outside, recruit a bunch of people to know about cameras and lighting, etc. Just write some text, wait, and you get the shots you want. And as the quote says, even though it's trained on normal, real footage, by making the models bigger and bigger and bigger, it seems like OpenAI was able to get models that can create things that they've never seen before, with great quality as well. And this is very worrying for us artists, because one of the great hopes we had when it comes to AI was that the way they're trained is literally by replicating images from the training data. So we were hoping that the AI could never create anything new. Surely this hypothesis was wrong, and we know it now. Just take a look at this other video on the website. None of this stuff could have been in the training data. I think we all agree on that, and yet the AI did generate it. Now, in this video I want to try something new and ask you, the audience, a question. Do you think that the remarkable human achievement of moving, for instance, from classical painting to impressionistic painting could have been done if the people back then had access to today's AI by just changing the prompts they give to the AI models? Or do you actually need to live through these kinds of changes in order to make them up? Let me know your answer in the comments, and I'll be reading and responding. Part 2. The human hand, a thing of the past? The last video I showed you was made by Josephine Miller, co-founder and creative director of Aurora Studio. She comments about her experience with the video generation model by OpenAI. Sora has opened up the potential to bring to life ideas I've had for years, ideas that were previously technically impossible. And another quote, "It's enabling me to translate my imagination with fewer technical constraints." Now, in art, at least before the advent of photography, the human hand was seen as the catalyst through which the artist achieved freedom of expression. It could only be seen as a constraint if one compared it with a master's hand. But even then, the goal was not to no longer need a hand. The goal was to obtain freedom in turn by gaining the master's expertise in the use of his or her hands. When photography came around, now the camera was seen as a liberating force. People who lacked the painter's discipline could now create images easily more realistic than that very painter they envied before. Think of how much cameras have evolved since then, and yet, even with the tremendous state of cameras nowadays, we still have professional artists who say AI is a liberating force compared to formerly available tools. Where does that lead the human hand? In the dust? Well, on the other hand, there remain incredible advantages to the human hand. In my June video a couple weeks back, I pointed out a quote by Leonardo da Vinci. In order not to repeat myself, I'll switch my source to Robert Greene, the author of the book Mastery.
Well, you know how some foods can kind of rot out your body, how they're not good for you? They taste good, but they're not really good for you.
Right.
I think of AI in that way.
Okay.
I study a lot of languages. That was sort of my major in college. And I remember at one point near the end, they gave us a passage of Thucydides, the hardest writer of all to read in ancient Greek. It's just impossible to decipher. You know, you could read a sentence like 20 different ways. So I had this one paragraph, and I must have spent like 10 hours trying to translate one paragraph. I couldn't figure it out. I thought and I thought and I thought. Finally I go, I think this is the answer. And I turned it into my professor, this kind of crazy hippie classics professor. And he goes, Robert, I see what you were thinking. I see where you were going. You were almost there, but you missed it. You completely mistranslated this beautiful paragraph, but you were getting at something. And that had an incredible impact on me even to this day. It made me realize that whenever you face a problem that you don't quite understand, you have to think more deeply. You have to use that anxiety of, is this right? No, it's not totally right. I have to go deeper into it, deeper and deeper and deeper. What if in that moment, I'd simply pulled out my translation of Thucydides and just copied the paragraph?
Yeah.
Or what if I had ChatGPT and I just put it in there and it gave it to me right away?
Yeah.
The whole thinking process would have been annihilated right there. Sure. The whole process of the frustration, I can't get it, I'm not good enough, something's wrong with me. It developed character, it developed patience, it developed discipline, it developed self-esteem and humility.
The human hand being such a constraint could be a blessing in disguise. Now secondly, I invite you right now, wherever you are, to rub your hands on the table in front of you, on your couch, on your blankets, on whatever's around you. Feel the texture on your fingers. Feel the undeniable presence of what you're touching. Close your eyes. Does it feel good? Soft? Irritating? Weird to touch? Every week in art class, I paint next to some sculptures, and I constantly see them closing their eyes, touching their sculptures all over, and making strange noises. This level of organic, intuitive feeling is probably unavailable to AI, as long as it remains trapped in a computer, which by the way it might not, and I've talked about this on my channel. And finally, a final advantage of the hand and of the physically enacted art by human beings is simply that the physical appeal of an artist making their own art by hand goes beyond the physical realm. One of Napoleon's hats was just sold for 2.1 million euros at an auction in France. By interacting with our art, just like in Napoleon's case, interacting with his hat, we give it extra value. We know it was Van Gogh's hand that made these strokes on the canvas. We know that he once stood in doubt and worry before the very same physical object that we now have in front of us. Had he been a robot, or even worse, a computer, would we feel the same? I reckon we wouldn't. So once again, I'll ask you guys the question. Do you think that the human hand really is a thing of the past? If you're an artist, do you feel constrained by your hand when AI is able to generate pixels straight away? Or do you feel that your hand empowers you? Let me know your answer down in the comments. Part 3. An unwanted companion. A lot of us who went into art had dreams of an idyllic life, hiking around nature and painting it, or going to festivals and painting the festivals, making money through our arts, and having passed the hurdle of acquiring the fundamentals, we would live a life full of self-expression and interaction with beauty. Almost none of us pictured that ideal future as artists, the one that would make us the happiest, as one where we stay inside, writing prompts to an AI art model. Yet, check out this other video that's featured on the website. This kind of video would never have seen the day without AI. All the morphing, the many different effects were obtained by exploiting flaws and advantages of the AI video models, namely their poor object consistency and the fact that to get a new effect you just need to change a word in your prompt. Is this becoming the place for AI in the new art world? Will it serve as a faster, simpler, and more money-efficient way of unleashing human creativity? Will the artists of tomorrow all be proficient AI users incapable of producing art by hand? We can take the example of another person using AI for another purpose. These videos were prompted by Alexander Reben, a professional artist. He says, "My experience of using Sora was as a starting point to develop 3D sculptures. My thoughts drifted towards exploring the realm of photogrammetry and its potential applications to sculpture. Photogrammetry is an ensemble of techniques that allows turning a video into a 3D representation. Alexander Reben, who made these videos, used photogrammetry to then create physical 3D sculptures of the objects generated by AI in the videos. So all these cases are very impressive, but they fall short by very far of supplanting everything that is done in art today. Should every artist drop everything they're doing and jump on this new AI tool? The answer is unequivocally no. I have a video planned about some renowned artists in the 90s who started using Photoshop and creating some of the most hilariously bad art in history when they were actually really good artists. The lesson in that video is going to be, just because a tool is new doesn't mean you should use it. And it's the same of AI. Some artists are going to make it work, but if you have traditional skills, you don't absolutely need to use it. Now, since we're reaching the end of this part, I'll ask you guys a question again. What was your ideal dream life as an artist when you started your journey? Has it changed then? Does it involve computers and AI? Let me know down in the comments. So, is all lost for artists in the age of Sora and other so-called AI art models? Usually on the channel I give clear answers as to what we should do as artists in the age of AI. Today though, I wanted to try something new and I asked you guys the question instead. Let's discuss all this in the comments. I'll be there reading and responding. Either way, the most important is that we keep our heads up and don't get discouraged and keep adapting and informing ourselves. In this pursuit, it is crucial to bring together expertise from both the world of arts and that of AI. I happen to be both an AI researcher as well as an artist. My goal on this channel is to stay ahead of the AI wave and figure out how to make valuable art with my hands, even as AI becomes more and more advanced. And this is a collaborative effort. I've already learned a lot from discussing the topic with you guys in the comments, and I hope this is going to continue in the future. And if you're trying to stay closer to the truth and AI-proof your art, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to go further, you may have noticed that I was using this app called Napkin throughout the video to take notes instantly. If you like the concepts and would like to support the Artpost AI channel, you can check it out via the link in the description. Thank you guys, and see you next time.
The silence whispers, haste taken control. Farewell to the strokes, the shades, the lines.